What's the biggest financial mistake that empty nesters can make? Keeping the house. If you're sitting in a home that's just too big for where you are in life right now, the kids are gone, the yard feels like a weekend job, and you're rattling around the rooms that you never use, then this video is for you. I'm Devin Assail, a real estate broker right here in Middletown, Connecticut, Middlesex County, and I specialize in helping people just like you make this exact move. So today I'm going to walk you through the entire process, from deciding you're ready, to selling your current home, to finding the right smaller place, and without the chaos and without leaving money on the table. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and most people will only do this once, so I want to give you the full picture. What are you going to do first? What mistakes are we going to avoid? And how to make this feel like an exciting chapter instead of a stressful one. So let's go get right into it. The first question that I'm always going to ask clients is, how do you know that you're actually ready? Because sometimes people feel the pull to downsize, whether it's from family, but they're not quite ready and they're not quite there emotionally or financially. And that's totally okay. So let's run through the 5 signs that tell me a client is genuinely ready to make this move and to downsize or right size. So sign number 1, you have more space than you actually use. If you have a guest bedroom that sees guests maybe twice a year, a formal dining room that is now basically storage, or a basement that you walk through once a week, there's space that you're heating, cooling, cleaning, and paying taxes on for no real return. Sign number 2 is when the maintenance is winning the game. When the home starts to feel like a second job, you're mowing, you're painting, you're fixing gutters, climbing up and down on ladders you shouldn't be climbing up on, dealing with a big HVAC system, or the roof is starting to go, that's your house telling you something. Sign number 3, your equity is significant. If you bought your home 15, 20, 25 or more years ago, chances are that you're sitting on a substantial amount of equity. And that equity is a financial tool. It can fund your next chapter in a really, really powerful way. So we'll go through all of those financial details. Sign number 4, your lifestyle has shifted. Maybe you're traveling more. Maybe you want a lock and leave condo. Maybe you want to be closer to family or closer to town, or in a community with people at your same stage of life. And sign number 5, you've thought about it more than once. So if this idea keeps coming back, if you keep Zillow browsing condos and touring 55 plus communities just for fun, that's not a coincidence, that's actually your readiness. Okay, so you've decided that you are ready to at least start the process and maybe have this conversation. Now comes the question that I get more than any other. Do I sell my current home first, or do I find a new place first? The honest question is, it depends. So let me break down both paths so that you can see which one makes more sense for your current situation. So option A is going to be selling first. This is the lower risk financial move. You know exactly what you're going to be working with before you go shopping. Your offer on the new house is clean. There's going to be no contingencies, no Hubbard clause, which we can explain at another time. And that makes you a stronger buyer. And you also won't be carrying 2 mortgages at once. But what's the downside? You might need a place to land in between homes. So that could mean renting for a few months or negotiating a rent-back agreement with your buyer, where you stay in your home for 30 to 90 days after closing while you find your next place. We could also do a subject to seller finding suitable housing when we list your property and maybe work with that option. And then option B is you're going to be buying first. This is a more comfortable path for most people. You don't have to move twice. You can take your time finding the right place, but it does come with a little bit more of a financial risk. If your current home takes longer to sell than expected, you could again be carrying 2 mortgages. That's stressful and can be expensive. Now, there are bridge loans and programs designed to help with this, and I'll get you those in a minute, but the buy first path requires some real financial safety net. My recommendation for most of my clients here in Connecticut is going to be to sell first. The market moves fast, inventory is tight, and being a clean buyer gives you a real edge. But every situation is different, and this is exactly the kind of question or conversation that we would have one-on-one. Okay, so let's say that you're going to go the sell first route. How do you get your home ready? And I don't mean like a full renovation, But we got to look at a smart and strategic prep that maximizes your sale price without spending a fortune. So, step one, we're going to declutter before anything else. When you've lived in a home for 20 or 30 years, things tend to accumulate. And buyers want to see the bones of the house, the light, the layout, the space, and they want to see the house and not your stuff. They can't do that if every service is full. So you want to start early, donate, sell, or store what you don't need. And this also gives you a little bit of a head start in packing what you're going to be bringing with you to the new house and what you're going to be giving to family. Step two is a pre-listing inspection. And this is something that I do recommend to a lot of my clients. A pre-listed inspection, which usually costs a couple hundred, maybe $500–600, it lets you find and fix issues before the buyers do. Nothing tanks a deal faster than a buyer's inspector finding a big surprise. So getting ahead of it protects your sale price and keeps the transaction clean. Step three is going to be cosmetic updates with high ROI. You do not need a kitchen remodel, but fresh paint in a neutral color, new light fixtures, landscaping cleanup, and that curb appeal, they really go a long way. Your agent, hopefully it would be me, should walk you through the home and give you a specific prioritized punch list. We're looking for the 80-20 here. What 20% of the effort gets you 80% of the return. Step four is going to be professional photography and staging. In 2026, buyers shop online first. Your photos are your very first showing. I never list a home without professional photos, and in many cases, a stager who can come in and set the scene. This is not an optional extra. It's the difference between getting multiple offers and potentially sitting on the market. And the last step is step five, is pricing it right from day one. Overpricing is the single biggest mistake that sellers are going to make. A home that sits gets stigmatized. Buyers start wondering, what's wrong with it? Price it sharp, generate competition, and you'll almost always net more than if you started too high and had to reduce the price later on. So let's talk about the money, because this is where the right sizing move can be really exciting. If you've owned your home for a while, you likely have significant equity. So let's say you sell your home for $550,000 and you have about $150,000 left in your mortgage. After paying off the loan and covering closing costs, which could typically be between 5 and 6% of the sales price, you're walking away with roughly, let's say, $350,000 in cash. Well, that's a really powerful number. Now you want to go and buy a condo or a ranch in Middletown or Cromwell or Durham, and it's going to be $350,000. You could pay cash outright and have no mortgage or even money left over. Or you put down a large sum and take a small mortgage and keep some of that cash liquid for retirement, travel, or emergencies. This is a scenario that I'm going to walk through with the clients in detail, because the math often really surprises people. They expected the move to feel like a step down, but instead, it feels like a financial reset. One of the things that people do not realize also, in the state of Connecticut, we have a conveyance tax. And depending on the town that you live in, it's anywhere between 1 and 1.25% of the sale price. It really amazes me that a lot of agents don't actually explain this to their clients when they're talking about their net when they sell it. So you're going to have your commissions, so you have your sale price, your commissions, your attorney's fees, your mortgage payoff, and then also you have this conveyance tax which goes to the state. So make sure that you know what your net would be, including that conveyance tax, because that could be anywhere between, if you're selling your house for $550,000, that's a $5,500 payment that you have to make to the state. So just make sure that you have that information and that your agent is explaining that. Now, a couple of financial specifics worth knowing. First, capital gains. If you've lived in your home as your primary residence for at least 2 of the last 5 years, you can exclude up to $250,000 of gain from capital gains tax if you're single, or up to $500,000 if you're married. For most people making this move, that exclusion covers them entirely, but talk to your CPA to confirm your specific situation. Second, financially, is going to be bridge loans. If you do need to buy before you sell, a bridge loan is your short-term financing option that lets you borrow against your current home's equity to fund the purchase of your new one. And there's a number of different programs out there, and I can give you a whole lot of contacts. They're not cheap. Interest rates could be higher, but they solve the timing problem, and I can connect you with those lenders who specialize in these. And third, don't forget the costs of buying. Even if you're putting down a large down payment, you'll still have closing costs on the purchase side too, usually somewhere between 2 and 4% of the purchase price. So we do need to factor that into your math and into your net. Okay, so we talked about the financials and some of the other stuff. Now let's talk about the fun part, which is finding your next place. When I work with right sizers, I always start with what I call the lifestyle brief, because what you're really buying isn't just square footage. It's now, what does your daily life look like? And that daily life looks different than it did when you bought your current home, maybe where you raised your kids and you started a business. So here are some of the questions that I'm going to ask. What does your ideal morning look like? And where does it happen? Do you want a yard? Do you want someone else to handle the grounds? Do you no longer want to be mowing your lawn or shoveling the sidewalk? Do you want a community with amenities, a pool, a clubhouse, neighbors your own age? Do you want a quiet street where you can close the door and have your privacy? Do you want to be able to play cards with the neighbors and go for walks? For most of my clients in this area, the top priorities are going to be one floor living, no stairs, maintenance-free exterior, and proximity to town and to medical facilities. So if that sounds like you, I can tell you right now there are some great options. Condos along the Connecticut River, townhome communities near main streets, and some excellent 55-plus developments that are growing all over the area. A few things to look out for when shopping smaller are going to be HOA fees. Condos and communities often have these monthly HOA fees that can range anywhere from $200 to $800 or more per month. But make sure you understand what's included and what the reserve funds look like. You don't want to move in and get hit with a special assessment 2 years later. But those fees are going to cover that lawn maintenance, the snow removal, things that you no longer have to be responsible for. Also, storage. Going from a 2,500 square foot home to a 1,400 square foot home is a big shift. So think hard about what you're keeping and what you're letting go. Some of my clients run a small storage unit for the first year while they figure that out and what they actually need in their new space. And then finally, resale. Even if you plan to stay in this next home for, let's say, another 20 years, do buy it with resale in mind. Single floor homes, elevator buildings, and communities with good amenities hold their values and appeal to a wide range of buyers. Okay, so the timeline. How long does all of this actually take? A realistic right-sizing timeline from we're ready to we're in is usually 4 to 6 months when things go smoothly. And here is a rough breakdown. So months 1 to 2, we're gonna prep your home for sale. We're gonna declutter, we're gonna make repairs, we're gonna do photography, we're gonna do listing, we're gonna put things into storage, we're going to stage. So we're gonna go through that punch list of items that we talk about the first time. Month 2 to 3, list, show, accept an offer. In a strong market, this can happen really, really fast and sometimes within days. Month 3 to 4 is closing on the sale. Standard Connecticut closings take about 30 to 45 days. Month 3 to 5 is going to be overlapping. So you're going to search for and contract on your new home. And then month 5 to 6, you're going to close on that purchase and move in. So it can be quicker, but it could take 6 months. Now, common mistakes, I see these over and over. Mistake 1, waiting for a perfect market. There's no such thing. There's the market that exists when you're ready to move. If your equity is strong and your motivation is real, do not let the headlines talk you out of it. Mistake number 2 is underestimating the emotional component. This is a big deal. You're leaving a home full of memories. Give yourself the permission to feel that. And also give yourself permission to be excited. Both of these things can be true. Mistake number 3, not interviewing your agent. You want somebody who specializes in this transition, not a generalist who handles everything from first-time home buyers to commercial leases. Ask how many right-sizing clients they've worked with. Ask for references. This is a significant financial transaction, so be selective. For instance, I have probably done 15 of these in the last 2 years. So here's the bottom line. Selling your big house and right-sizing into something that actually fits your life right now is one of the smartest moves that you can make. Financially, practically, and emotionally. And it doesn't have to be complicated when you have the right guide and the right person to walk you down this path. So if you're in the Middlesex County area, Middletown, or anywhere in the greater Connecticut River Valley area, I would love to sit down with you for no pressure, no obligation, just a conversation. We'll look at your specific home, your equity position, and talk about what's available on the market right now that might be a perfect fit. You can reach me on my cell phone at 203-499-7168. Visit the website at Sold in CT, or just hit the link in the description below to schedule a free consultation. So if this video was helpful, please give it a like. It genuinely helps more people find this content for when they need it. And subscribe if you want more videos about buying, selling, and living up and down the Connecticut River in Middlesex County. I'm Devin Assail from Dave Jones Realty, where we do everything but the packing.